Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation to bring you my list preview for my Grey Knights that I not only will be taking on lane with tonight, but will also be taking to the Arch City GT. Only a little bit of work left to do to get this army ready with my Voidsman in arms. I need to stop over and get my the Caledus I will be borrowing from a buddy of mine. But all in all, list is ready and just got a little bit of time to get some last minute practice in before we head to Columbus. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do turn on the bell for notification, get notified on all the content we bring here on the channel. And with that being said, let's get back into the Grey Knights and what I'm bringing today. So before I jump over to the actual army, reason I'm taking Grey Knights. After a little bit, after Tyranids and Marines get their releases, we're looking at AdMech and Necrons. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on Necrons. And right now I've been really diving deep into the Necrons, the codex and everything with them. And after one game that I feature on the channel where I played against Josh and his chaos, my mind immediately went over to a bunch of Grey Knight stuff. I got a lot of tricks and ideas and concepts of what I'm doing with this list and why I want to bring this list and what I think this could do in the meta, being an army that more focuses on scoring points over eliminating units. So this is a little bit of a passion project. One, I love the display board that I built for this army. Two, I actually feel like my Grey Knights are probably one of my best painted armies. So to be able to bring them out for this at the beginning of the edition, my first GT, real excited about that. Because I know it's going to be a lot of Necrons going throughout the rest of the edition. Doesn't mean I'm not going to play other armies, but there's going to be a lot of Necron time in the future. So yeah, I mean, Grey Knights have a special place in my heart, being one of the armies that I built when I didn't have very much money. And I was trying to establish myself to be able to start a family and do all that stuff. So my Grey Knights, a lot of them were pieced together in conversions and Marines from here or there. So they got a lot of life with me. And over the years of upgrade, my Grey Knights, I think they look pretty nice. They've come out a long way with them. So, and this is the Grey Knights that I've always wanted to play. Teleporting, bouncing around the field. Wasn't as happy with them last edition. I know some people may have enjoyed them. That's fine. That's great. You know, there's other armies out there that I didn't really enjoy, and other people do. With Grey Knights, this is the style I want for Grey Knights. Teleporting around, bouncing around the field, just all the crazy shenanigans that they can get in the movement phase. So, yeah, I think that pretty much sums up why I'm looking at Grey Knights right now over Necrons. Oh, and plus, we're looking at what? At last I'd seen a 25% overall win rate, bottom of the bucket. I mean, come on. Nobody doesn't love the underdog story. So, hey, if I pull some magic off with Grey Knights and end up taking them to all the way and taking them to the top, that's a nice little feather in my cap. If not, I know a lot of buddies down at Arch City that'll be glad to enjoy some adult beverages with and have a good time. All right, so let's do it. Let's talk about the Grey Knights that I'm going to be taking to Arch City GT and facing off against Lane later on this evening. All right, so here they are in almost all their glory. Yeah, so there's two things that are not pictured here right now. One is my Caledus Assassin and the other is Voidsman at Arms, because I'm still working on those guys. Voidsman are on the table right now getting painted. Won't be difficult to get those guys painted up in time. And my buddy Tony has a beautiful, beautiful Caledus Assassin, which I have a picture of that assassin I'll throw up on the screen just so you guys can see what I'm talking about, that I will be bringing as well with my army once I meet up with him later this week. Now, as far as the Grey Knight portion of it, we are packed and stacked and ready for action. Let's get into what these guys can do and what I'm looking at here. So let's start off with the big boys. Number one, the Land Raider. I am very, very excited to be taking a Land Raider in 10th edition for this time frame until all the weapons get stronger and the Land Raider goes back on the shelf. The Land Raider provides a side of the game that the rest of my army really can't, by having the Godhammer las cannons that can do higher damage and possibly take out some of the medium and light class vehicles. Being strength 12 means it wounds 4 on 4s against most of the higher toughness stuff, the Imperial Knights and things like that, which usually doesn't make it very reliable, but at least it is a higher damage gun. Now, against things that are toughness of less than that strike 12, like toughness 11 and down, being able to wound on 3s or better is significantly an improvement to be able to get that damage through and take them out. He will have a hunter killer missile. He will have the multi-melt and all the little extra free fixings that you can get on a Land Raider as it is. This guy is a salvage. Originally, when I got this Land Raider, it was being turned into an Orc battle wagon. So I got it, cleaned it up, made it real nice and shiny, and that's how we have this full track Land Raider. And getting the tracks was too. That was fun. So that was fun searching all over the internet for the set of tracks. But that's how we got this bad boy, the full track set, paying homage to the old Land Raiders, the original like MK1 or 2 patterns. I'm not familiar. It was the original old school 2nd edition Land Raider that, if you've ever seen one of these things, I will tell you, if they fall off a table, they roll very, very far if they land the right way. All right, so that's my Land Raider. Also, another benefit of the Land Raider is its transport capacity. This allows me to put interceptors or strikes, which both are 5-mans, in different numbers inside this thing, depending on the mission and the army matchup, for what I want to have on the table, that so it doesn't get hit by any early fire and the Land Raider is able to protect. So, over to my other big hitter. We have one regular Nemesis Dread Knight, not a Grandmaster. So the reason I went with the regular Nemesis Dread Knight is because of the psychic power to allow him to advance, fall back, and still shoot and charge. This means that the Dread Knight is quicker than the Grandmaster, also a little bit cheaper. He comes with a side cannon and a silencer, as well as a Nemesis Demon Hammer, because tank shock. Tank shock, tank shock, tank shock. Being able to throw 14, usually +2 dice, and going after mortal wounds is huge with this guy and can leave quite an impact on any vehicle or any unit for that matter. It's a lot of damage to be able to wreck and then attack with the hammer. Now, granted, he doesn't have the same rerolls that the Grandmaster would off his psychic powers, but that's okay. We'll take that. I'll take that with a grain of salt, simply because of the speed that he has, and also not being a character and giving additional points on that turn with no prisoners, and a little bit cheaper. So all in around, I like the regular Grandmaster or the regular Dread Knight in this build for what I'm trying to do with it, which is more or less being that bullet impact. If you don't take me out, I'm going to hit you hard. If you do take me out, it doesn't completely cripple my entire army. So, and yes, with the Grandmasters, you can get some enhancements on them that make them good, or stronger, especially like the Sigil. But I have the Sigil elsewhere, which again makes it that the Grandmaster in this list is not necessarily as efficient as it would be just having a regular Dread Knight that can advance, fall back, and still charge and shoot. All right, so over to my infantry, and then we'll get to the characters last and where they're going. So first, as I mentioned, I have 5 Voidsmen at Arms. This is because I have 40 points. I had points remaining, and for these guys, 40 points gives me a 5-man squad that's objective control value 2. Literally entirely the reason why I'm running these guys is just for the OC2, and I had the points left over. And then we also have the Caledus Assassin, who Caledus synergizes with my army so well. So first of all, the Caledus has, much like my Grey Knight army does, the ability to come off the table at the end of my opponent's movement phase. And for those of you who don't know, because of the 2,000 points that we will be playing at this event, I can select 3 units at the end of my opponent's turn with the Teleport Assault keyword, pick them up off the table, and redeploy them during the reinforcement step of my opponent's turn 9 inches away, allowing me to bounce all over the field. So the Caledus also does that. So theoretically, I could pick 4 units up if one of them is the Caledus. And the Caledus also has precision weapons to be able to get in there and remove a character. On top of, and probably the biggest reason people take the Caledus, the ability that once you use a stratagem, the next time the stratagem is used, if I select to use this ability on that stratagem, the next time that stratagem is used, it will cost 1 additional command point. because we only have 6 stratagems army-wide, there is usually 1 or 2 strats that are very, very crucial to a theme of an army. And being able to make it cost 2 instead of 1, or take it from 2 to 3, can be the point of that stratagem being used or not. An example I can use is Necrons. They have a 1 command point reanimation strat that, trust me, that's one to use all the time. I mean, you can, if you can, especially if you have some CP regen or CP gain off of like Emotech, you're just making it an impenetrable wall. But now, if it costs 2 command points, it's going to significantly limit where it's going. You know, the Overlord can zero it out on the unit that he's with, but that's just the unit he's with. And we have a way to zero something out of here too, if we get vexed in response as well. Not quite as good as some other armies. I know that's one that's a very strong topic of debate. We'll get over to that shortly. All right, so now back to my Grey Knights in the infantry. So we have 2 5-man squads of the Interceptors. So the Interceptors have the ability, what I love about the Interceptor, both these have a side cannon, 1 in each. What I love about the Interceptors is when they land, after they shoot, they can make a move for 6 inches, I believe. They get after they shoot. So, which means this, they have to have a target to shoot, but that's not that difficult, especially with 24-inch range. It doesn't have to be a good target, just needs to be a target. So what these guys do is I can deep strike in with them or teleport in with them, and they, 6-inch move. They can, shoot and then move 6 inches, possibly taking an objective marker away, or blocking line of sight, or simply falling back behind a wall. But that extra move can be very, very critical. And I really like these guys. I took a second one because I don't want someone to remove 1 early, and then I don't have 1 late in the game to possibly get onto an objective that, you know, say there's just a single model holding this objective, but it's like, haha, you can't get on this objective because you're 9 inches away. I go, haha, I'm going to shoot at something I can't, that doesn't matter, and then move through a wall, and now I'm right there in your face. Now, you can't charge afterwards, and they're only objective control 1. But, I mean, 5 is better than 1, and then I take the objective and can zero out someone on primary. Or secondary objectives, engage on all fronts. Getting into positions like that where I might not be able to land perfectly, these guys can get into those small corridors and get me those extra points. All right, so now we have moving over to 2 5-man strike squads. The strike squads have sticky objectives, which means that these guys can go on an objective, and then after passing through a command phase, I can still control the objective even if no one's there. With bouncing around the field and all the stuff I do, this is something that I really want to make sure that I have, and again is why there's 2 units going later into the game, so I can keep on primary score when my units start getting depreciated if my opponent's not able to get over to an objective marker because of move blocking, or simply eliminating any units that could, you know. So this can put me in an interesting game state where holding an objective marker like that allows me to score additional points that I wouldn't normally be able to. These guys also have the scout keyword, which means that they can move out and get onto an objective or get closer to an objective early on in the game. You know, getting some of the deployment zones and the way that terrain is set up, I may want my unit to be all the way up into the corner. However, now because I'm not in the whatchamacallit, I'm not the table setup makes it that the corner of that rune is 4 or 5 inches out of my deployment zone. Now I can get these guys up in that corner. On top of that, by putting these guys into the Land Raider, this confers the scout move to the Land Raider as well. So I can put the Land Raider maybe in a more aggressive position to threaten my opponent, and then if I go second, tuck it back behind a wall, or move it into an even better position to get a better line of shot in the situation that I go first. So there's a lot of benefits by having the strike and how I'm how they can work and how I'm working with them. Now over to my last two units, the units that are led by characters. So first of all, let's go with my big bomb of purifiers. 10 purifiers, 4 incinerators, and Castle and Crow leading them. This squad is anti-infantry incarnate. So you have 4d6 flamers that do have Torrent, AP1, Ignore Cover, beautiful, Strength 6 as well. Then you have the Storm Bolters, which Storm Bolters are Storm Bolters, you know, volume of shots. Hey, I'll take it all day. And then you have Purifying Flame, which because Crow is leading them, they will get 2 shots apiece. So the squad at full strength will put down 20 shots with Purifying Flame. That is anti-infantry 2 up. And then Crow, who can also Storm Bolter and take 4 additional shots with Purifying Flame. Then, if you move, Overwatch, and do it all again. This squad is meant to just eliminate the infantry that can move through walls, get on objectives, and allow me to play a game where it's like, okay, I can't hurt your vehicles, so let's make it that your vehicles can't score. Let's make it that you can't score points, because all things that are left are really just vehicles. I do have the Land Raider and the Dread Knight that's able to pick some of those things up. And then my infantry killers, the purifiers, on top of all my different stratagems that I can use to get them out of the field, make them untargetable. That's my cleaner right there. And then last but not least, a 5-man squad of Terminators with a banner and with an apothecary. So these guys with the banner are objective control value of 3, which is really awesome to be able to land in there and put just a few guys touching the objective and know that each one of them counts as 3 for controlling the objective. Great on the steal. The Grandmaster is only a 1, so he would go up to a 2, which he is included in there. The Grandmaster has the Sigil of Exodus. So when I get shot at, they can get picked up and land somewhere else on the field 9 inches away from the enemy. And then, you know, if you can't see them and can't shoot at them, then the opponent can declare another target. So with these guys, a lot of the thought process goes as to I can place units in very defensive positions early on to score secondaries and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be able to place every unit defensively. This is a unit that if I can place it defensively and in a position that it isn't getting threatened to get charged, when it gets shot at, I can get it out of the field, lather, rinse, repeat. Basically, I put my resources down on the table, I score my points, I pick them back up, and then I do it again the next turn. More or less trying to just buy me some time to be able to expand my army and keep the units alive as long as possible to score these points. So the Terminator Squad does have a side cannon in it, as well as my Grandmaster has a side cannon. So other than the purifiers, everything in the army at least has 1 side cannon in it. For the 2 damage and the higher strength weapons, I want to be able to guarantee that I'm nickel and diming some stuff so that I can at least reduce things down a little bit. I get it. Incinerators are real nice. I want that hit. I want the side cannons. I like having the 2 damage. It's been really feeling good for me. So the Grandmaster is going to be my Warlord. Grandmaster allows me to use a stratagem on these guys for free once per game, which I get it. I know everyone's been like, why are we the only ones that it's a once per game while everyone else can do it once per turn? Hopefully that changes, but right now, that's the way it is. And then he also allows it so the Terminators ignore any negative modifiers to hits, wounds, stuff like that when they're trying to do damage. They can ignore any and all. So positive ones that I may want, then I can I just have to say no. I'm gonna take that one. So there's my Grey Knights for you guys. I've made this one kind of long-winded, going into a lot of details on stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing some comments and some responses for it. Unfortunately, though, the list is submitted, so what you see is what you get. This is what I'm running. And yeah, wish me luck, guys. This is I'm definitely taking a long shot here with where Grey Knights sit right now, and try something that I feel is strong, but We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of very powerful armies in the meta, very strong units that it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle all 5 games of this turn of the GT. So again, wish me luck, guys, and stay tuned for Lane's army description as well as the battle report. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching.